It's still so cool though. And I know you talked about when you got there in Memphis Championship Wrestling. That's and it wasn't technically WWE owned, but it was WWE affiliated because this was
Mhm.
before they like when they used to have the same deal with OVW and Heartland and everything like that. But you said William Regal was one of the main people training you there.
Yeah. So he wasn't even, I think, assigned as a trainer, but he was down there.
Okay.
And so he trained those who wanted to wrestle. And Tracy Smothers was down there. Same thing. Bobby Eaton was down there for a little stretch too, which is
What a
great.
cool combination of guys right there. Wow.
Yeah. Robbie Brookside spent a good chunk down there too.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I got to learn from some really good guys, and all you had to do was ask. All you had to do was be enthusiastic about wrestling. And then when you realize that, like, a lot of the wrestlers who were signed aren't that enthusiastic, uh, it wasn't long before I was the guy who they gave the keys to the building because I was the first one there. I was going to be the last one to leave, and I would want to go by myself, and I did. All I had to do was work hard. Well, that's easy.
And what I love is like Shawn Michaels, Jose Lothario, Bobby and Tracy Smothers, William Regal, like Robbie Brookside. You couldn't have like a different group of people teaching you. And that's just because obviously early on, maybe that can be difficult when you're like really, really new, but because of the reasons you talked about earlier, with the different styles and everything. But once you're in a point where you can start developing, that's so much knowledge. And now you can pass on all that knowledge from these incredible pros and Hall of Famers and everything else onto a new generation. So that's super cool.
As best I can, I'll try. And want to be clear. By the time I got to San Antonio for the first full time class, Jose Lothario was already asked to leave.
Oh,
I
I didn't
never,
know that.
yeah, I never got to meet the man.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a
Yeah,
shame. Yeah, I it would have been super cool, but obviously things still worked out for you. Could you talk a little more
yeah.
about William Regal though? Training with him and meeting him, what his personality was like? Because I know at various points, he had his demons at some points, but I think at this point he was kind of getting past some of that. I'm not really sure the specifics, but how was he? Because obviously everyone loves him. He's like a world class everything, like talker, wrestler, producer, trainer, like
Mm.
anything anybody ever says about him is nothing but high praise. I'm guessing it'll be the same with you, but could you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's amazing what a suit and an accent will do, right? He's a no, he's a friend and a mentor, and I think darn near everybody is crazy about him in the world of wrestling because he loves wrestling so much. Um, yeah, I was very lucky in that when I got to go to TV, in 2003, Mr. Regal asked me to ride with him, and I did, and that was great.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
yeah, I got to ask him questions every day, and then I got to be around all the other wrestlers who I got to ask questions to, and um, yeah. I guess as nervous as I am or was, I wasn't ever nervous about the pursuit of being better as a wrestler in the way of asking a Benoit or a Guerrero to watch my match, please, and bug them to try to become a better wrestler. I've been very lucky.
It's cool because you talked about being anxious and all these other ways about various different things, but your drive for wrestling was so high and your desire to be as good as you possibly could and outwork everybody. I guess it worked out pretty well in that sense. Who?
Well,
Oh,
well,
sorry.
I never got to the point where I outworked everybody, or where I out wrestled everybody. I never got to that point, but it's what drove me. Yeah.
Mhm. Who actually ran the Memphis Championship Wrestling? Like who was the promoter? Who was the booker? Who was telling you what to do? Because you talked about training, like you were training with Regal and Bobby Eaton and all these people. But as far as like these are the people that you listen to at shows, these are the people directing you where to go. Who was that?
Terry Golden was
Okay.
the man in charge. Yeah, Terry Golden. He used to run, I think it was called Kick Ass Wrestling at the time. And they had a good show on Beale Street at I think it was the Old Daisy Theater. But Beale Street's a pretty hip street in Memphis. They'd run a good show. They would do a lot of like chaos, tables and think that kind of stuff. But I I think because of a dispute or something that happened with the Lawlers League, um, they wound up going to dealing with Terry Golden. I don't know how, why, but it was a different promotion from that of Kurt Angle and The Rock. This was now Terry Golden's promotion.